Ladies and gentlemen, this morning on KAPP Radio, it's our pleasure to present one of the members of Southern California's, one of the leading rock and roll, surfing, whatever you might call them. However, who better clean it? Clean, okay. Interview with Randy Noward of the Challengers beginning now. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning is indeed my pleasure to present Mr. Randy Noward of the world-famous Challengers, our guest this morning, courtesy of Vault Records. Want to welcome you to our studios, Randy, and extend KAPP's deepest congratulations and sincere thanks for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And you can talk a little louder to the microphone if you want.
I'll do my best, you know.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Randy, I guess the basic thing we want to inquire about is first your personal history, then we'll go into some of the band's history. But first, why don't you give us a description of yourself, from whence you came and from where and all that jazz.
Well, I've lived in California just about all of my life, in the Southern California area mainly, where I guess it's sort of kind of lucky that I happened to get into a rock and roll band. You might call it lucky. It was just the kids on the block and the local area that happened to form the group, and it turned out to be a good thing, and all the members of the group now have turned it into a profession and are making a fairly good living at it. It helped us through high school and also paid for a great deal of my college education.
Well, I won't delve any further into that. However, I know a lot of these young members of these different bands, such as, I guess, the Shantays, the Rumblers, to just think of a few, are doing about the same thing as you all. Where did the name The Challengers come from? Or did it just, it seemed like a good idea at the time?
Oh, it was funny. There was a kid in school that no one could think of a name for our group, so someone lit on Challengers, and nobody had enough courage to change it, so that's what it is. It's no special reason.
Also known as the Good Guys, the Quads, the Grand Prix, the Defenders.
The No Goods.
The No Goods. I'll go along with that. No, really. I notice you do have quite a few albums out currently, K39 being your most recent, and being heavily publicized by ATCO, which is the national distributor of Vault Records, which you record for. Also your Good Guys and Go Skateboarding, or whatever it's...
Sidewalk Surfing.
Sidewalk Surfing.
It's a bunboard album.
A bunboard album?
Yes.
Recorded on Crescendo?
Yes.
GNP?
Yeah, Gene Norman Productions.
Hooray. It's, I notice it's getting a lot of display in our local record shops.
Yes.
I understand it's also selling fairly well.
I think we primarily deal in these fad albums that keep coming out. This skateboard album, for example, is I believe, the latest craze, and we did a few Hot Rod albums while they were popular. Hot Rod City and a few other Hot Rod albums, and we started primarily with a surfing album, which is more or less come and gone, and is coming back, I believe, this summer. There are a lot of surfing records coming.
I noticed you did miss out on one large trend, though.
Ringo.
Yeah, you kind of missed out with the boys there. You were from the wrong country. If you'd been born in England, you could have been like the Dave Clark Five and the Animals and all the rest of the gang.
My hair's too short.
Yeah, well, that's
I take showers.
Personal problems. All I hear is personal problems.
Well, I guess for that much money, I think I'd let my hair grow.
I think I could stand it. What is the history? How long has the band been together? Is what it boils down to.
Well, we've been together as the Challengers for about 2 years. The first 6 months that we were together, we didn't do much as far as recording goes or jobs. We primarily were getting organized. But in the last year and a half, I think we've come a long way from our first album, Surf Beat, to the latest album, K39. It's been about a year and a half of hard work, but I think we've come farther than any other group in the area in that short space of time. That's relatively short.
Golly, you're modest.
I think it is.
Well, I believe you.
Yeah.
Having heard the Surfing Around the World, or the Challengers on the Move, however you want to call the album, I'm quite surprised by your interpretations of songs that most surf bands wouldn't touch. For instance, Apache, or The Breeze and I, The Happy Cowboy, to name a few. I found these wild in my type of show, they are playable, and most guys in the middle of the road, such as Cap Radio is, wouldn't play it. But however, I think it's a good way to introduce the people who listen to teenage music through no fault of their own. For instance, if they are the mother, father, brother, or relation, or live within 3 blocks of a teenager, undoubtedly the radio goes blaring on as soon as they wake up in the morning, and all you can hear is various and assorted "She Loves You," "Yeah, yeah, yeahs," and surfing sounds in there.
Well, having parents of my own, I've run into the problem of parents not understanding rock and roll and older people not appreciating it. So we've tried to improve on it and make it something that's listenable not only to teenagers but to adults too, and make it a little more universally popular, and tried to clean it up a little bit.
And if nothing else, it gives them something to fight with,
Yeah, we had a good time.
It was quite. I really was surprised when I first got the record and I was listening to it. I figured, well, here comes that old trash. And
thank you.
To show you, I think we'll play a cut right now out of the album, and we'll be right back with some more of the interview right after we hear the song called "The Happy Cowboy" by the Challengers on Vault Records from their album "Surfin' Around the World." Ladies and gentlemen, that was by the Challengers, called "Happy Cowboy," and we have in our studio, as you know, Randy Nauer of the Challengers, this morning's interviewee, as I pull a page out of Steve Edwards' notebook. Of course, he gets Mort Saul and Tony Bennett, and I get Randy Nauer, but I'm sure that in the future,
we'll still be friends.
We'll still be friends, okay. Well, how long did it take you, for instance, to cut that album? I know some, artists make it 12-hour sessions and all this jazz like that. Give us some background on the album.
Well, I think most of the entertainers in the field now more or less got into the field as a type of a lucky break, because...
Yes.
Start that again.
Well, go right ahead, because we're doing all right.
Okay. Excuse me, little gas.
No, that was a little technical difficulty, which is a good way to explain everything.
Okay, that's good enough. We were lucky enough to get a hit record, which is enough to inspire anybody to go on and try and make a little bit more money. So...
Ladies and gentlemen, from their Vault album called "Surfing Around the World," the Challengers on the move. That was the Challengers playing "The Happy Cowboy." And as you know, in our studio this morning, we have Randy Nauert of the Challengers, their bass guitar player. Randy, how about a few notes on that album?
Well, that album was, that's the second to the last album preceding, this is the album preceding K39, our latest album. And I think that's more of the adult type music that we've recorded. It's we've tried to clean up the surf music and the teenage music and make it pleasing to adults, and yet still keep it in the same vein for kids. That album, interestingly enough, took us about 2.5 months to record.
What was the lining up the musicians, or what?
Well, there's recording dates and then overdubs and voices, hand claps, arrangements. There are quite a few extra instruments in there. You figure you hear quite a few more musicians than just the 5 in the group.
I noticed the horns and all this jazz, the outside.
Well, they're all done by our own music. They're all members of the band. It's just recorded at later dates, different sessions.
So actually, many members of your band are quite multi-talented as far as musicians are
You
concerned.
more or less have to be. You start in dance band in high school and then graduate to bongo drums, and then you get kicked out of the house and start playing guitar. Join a rock and roll band. It's wonderful.
Going to Memphis, all right.
Yeah.
But how did that album go over? I mean, I know it wasn't a world smash. I mean, because the Beatles had that kick, but did it go pretty well?
Well, it wasn't a fast-moving album, but it sold consistently well for the past few months. It's done quite well. I'm quite pleased with it, and of course, it has my picture on the cover, which is fun to give to my friends.
Dartboard City.
Oh yeah. No, it's sold quite well.
The K39 album, I understand, and in fact I see in one of the trade magazines, is being publicized and plugged pretty well by Atco Records, which is of course your national distributor, and undoubtedly it will sell fairly well. Many persons I've heard said that K39 was probably your best record so far. They really were enthusiastic. Many of your fellow surfing band
We're looking
people.
for big things from that album. We hope it does well.
You might say you're looking for big things from anything you do.
Of course.
Wishing and hoping and all that
Thank you.
jazz. And I also noticed you got the Sidewalk Surfing album, which we mentioned before, by the good guys.
Yes, and the Defenders album on World Pacific, and Wipeout by the Safaris
On Dot.
on Dot, and a few other assorted albums around.
You got your little bass guitar in about every little record groove in town,
Well,
actually.
I try.
Always in there hustling.
Yes.
Can't win. What is your immediate plans for the future? I understand you did make a date in Las Vegas here about 3 weeks ago, which I understand also was received quite well. Enthusiastic response, etc.
Yes, we hope to be going back there in about 6 weeks. We enjoyed it very much. I might say that I think Las Vegas is about the entertainment capital because they have the finest entertainment there. And I would,
You're modest.
well, he took us. I would like to go back there. I'm looking forward to it when we go back, and I think it would be a place where you could, an average band like in a lounge would make, the musician would make about $600 to $700 a week, which is fairly good for a musician.
Which is fairly good for anybody.
Yes.
I like that.
I'd like to work
I'm
there
not
for a
rolling
while.
over myself, come to think of it.
Well, we hope to be going back there quite soon.
And do you plan to stay together as the Challengers? I know many of these bands, get together for a recording date and then go their separate ways. And you all haven't been together for 2 years now. Do you plan to maintain your status as professional musicians, as known as the Challengers, for quite a while, or do you hope to maybe get into other sessions of sounds, etc.?
Well, as musicians individually, we will be doing other sessions, but as the Challengers, we plan to stay together as long as we can and as long as the public accepts us as well as they have in the last 2 years. It's a good field. We enjoy it quite a bit. There's a great deal of reward, I believe.
I know you all have the enthusiastic backing of the stations that play more of that music, such as the one in
Yes.
Hollywood and the one in Pasadena. I don't want to mention any names, but they're
Wow.
there, and we can't deny it.
Uh-huh. Well, they've helped us quite a bit, a few of the more influential disc jockeys. You find all people are kind of interested in helping local talent, and I think a lot of our success is due to the help we've gotten from disc jockeys.
I noticed Sam Riddle of the station in Hollywood wrote your liner notes on one album,
Yes, he's
and you've also had a tie-up with one of the TV personalities who does this rock and roll business, whose
Don't-
initials are LT.
Lloyd Taxton.
Yay.
Oh, that's right. He was a very nice man, very pleasant to work with. We did an album with him. I enjoyed that. That sold quite well, too, especially in this area where his program is popular. Most of the kids watch it.
Yes,
So
I
do
noticed.
I.
That's where the Slauson got his kickoff. Well, that's another story another time. I want to thank you for stopping by. We're just about out of tape and time and everything else. Want to thank you for stopping by this morning, Ray. Maybe someday we'll make it another one, and a little more garrulous exhibition of your talents, which you have
Okay.
many. And do hope and express the continued success of your group from everybody here at KAPP and everybody here in Southern California, probably. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. We'll need it.
Okay, have a good time, and now some more music from the Challengers. Listen to Apache, and then we'll be back to music on KAPP Radio 93.5 FM, serving the greater South Bay from Redondo Beach.